without any further introductions, let's get into a bit of a discussion. So, what, in your opinion, are the challenges that young South Africans face when in education, when they're going through the education journey? What are some of the challenges that they face? Maybe, Lance, you can kick us off.
I think the biggest challenge that any young person has is defining their sense of identity. You know, the age between the ages of 14 to 24, it's a very delicate developmental stage where the youth are trying to basically resolve issues of identity and trying to understand what it is that they want to do one day. So there's this kind of continuum, like where they find themselves now and where they want to be in the future, and they're trying to resolve all those internal dynamics. So I would say that that's probably one of the biggest challenges, because if you don't have a solid sense of identity, you struggle with other emotional or I suppose cognitive challenges, like basic things like setting good boundaries, for example, or understanding how to develop healthy relationships with your peers or your teachers. And I think we often take it for granted that those things are skills, social skills that we're supposed to just have, but we can't take it for granted. And we need to actually investigate and zoom in on those deeper issues at some point, to see how we can support our youth on an emotional, psychological level. And if we are prioritizing mental health care, what is it that we are doing for each individual that's going to help them to feel supported, and it's going to help them to feel confident enough to take the steps into the world of work? Because firstly, defining for yourself what it is that you want to do and what you want to become is one thing, but then when you are in the process of it, that process can still become blurred if you don't have a clear sense of motivation. And when the environment and society, suppose, is fluctuating, and you have quite drastic events like the pandemic that we're currently experiencing, then all those internal kind of senses or anchors become dislodged, and then you lose your direction, or your sense of purpose, you can say. So that, for me, I think that's one big issue that needs to be looked at. And then also the issue of social capital, I think that we're going to get into, is an important one. Sometimes it just takes one good referral or one person that cares about you to put you on the right path, and that sense of, I suppose, altruism or wanting to help is not always evident, and that also leads to a lot of negative experiences for young people. So yeah, it's a very challenging time and environment to be in, and when you look at the statistics and you see something like an unemployment rate of 30 to 50%, it's very disheartening. So a sense of courage, a sense of boldness, a sense of direction, a sense of identity are all important things, in trying to tackle these massive issues and try and at least find the right path. Because like Jared said, these are systemic issues. And it can be overwhelming if you see it, from a very small perspective. So you have to kind of see the bigger picture and ask yourself, how do you eat an elephant? You do it one bite at a time. So yeah, it's a very challenging situation, but it's not all doom and gloom. There is hope, and we just need to kind of mobilize our resources and put our heads together and start invigorating a new sense of optimism and hope amongst ourselves, so that it can feed into the people that we support.
Thanks so much, Lance. Kulu, do you want to jump in there?
Yes, I think one of the issues that affects young people, especially from like disadvantaged backgrounds, is that when it comes to schooling, they choose to study things that means that money can come in. A lot of underprivileged kids do not have the luxury of choosing a career that is they're passionate about or a passion. They have to work. They have to choose to study something that they can bring money, like accounting or law. So a lot of students do have a lot of them don't enjoy what they do, but they feel like they have that burden that I have to take care of my family back home. So they have to study this career that's gonna help them provide for their families and take them um, somewhere in life. So they have it also does definitely affect the mental state, and a lot of students do fail at school or end up in careers that they don't really love because of the pressures of home and having to take care of their families. And there's a lot of issues that people don't really understand from the outside that young people have to go through. They have a lot of pressure from home and a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand. So it's so important for people, organizations, and the youth to support each other. And a lot has to be done about how unemployment and pressures affect their mental state. So it's so important to deal with those mental issues as well, and to support them mentally as well. Um, it's quite scary, the kind of things that young people go through, and I think it's so important that organizations and youth ourselves to sort of have a network where we can support each other and talk to each other, especially when you're going through looking for jobs. It does seem like you're the only person who's in that situation, but there are millions of others who are going through the same thing. So it's so important for us to like help each other and reach out to each other and support each other in that journey. That's it for me.
Thanks, Kulo. I have to agree with you that the issue
Mm,
of career guidance comes up again in every
mhm,
conversation I've had with young people. I've seen it, in my own life, in my own family as well.
mhm,
Um, young South Africans, majority of young South Africans been exposed to very limited career options based
mhm,
on, like you say, what they think will make money. I mean, a lot of people go into a BCom degree, but where are the jobs actually for those career paths? And then how happy are young people even when when they're studying, they struggle maybe because they're not actually maybe that good at a BCom. Maybe they were actually better if they'd gone to a TVET and
mhm,
done a vocational training. So I think we need to destigmatize some of the perceptions around a lot of work for young people so that they can feel that they can follow their passions. And we need young people who have followed those routes to come forward and say, I did it and I am making money actually doing this thing. That I love. So yeah, I really agree with your points. Jared, maybe you want to chat a bit around your experience working with the young people who have come through the Trusted Interns program.
Yeah, so look, both Lulu and Lance have raised some very relevant points. And to go back to the fact that it's systemic, if we look at it, the issues of unemployment that we're facing today are largely as a result of a broken education system. And what I'm actually quite excited about, and Lulu made me think about this now, is that whilst COVID is going to have dramatic effects on youth unemployment in the short term, I really do think it could well be a catalyst for how we accelerate the way in which we change the world of, or the ecosystem of education and employment going forward. And ultimately that should start to enable youth to make more informed decisions that are more relevant to the world of today. So what Lulu said was, it's quite common to go into an education path that is perceived to be the right path, like go be a lawyer or go be a doctor or go be an accountant, like the classic things. But if I'm not mistaken, I think the statistic is 67% of students in South Africa right now are the first students at a tertiary institution in their whole family. They're the first generations to now go 10 tertiary qualifications. So they haven't got that social capital from an upbringing point of view and from their families. They don't have role models in their community that they can seek guidance from to inform what path they take. So it's almost as if they make choices that they feel like they've got no say in. It's like, okay, cool, I'm just going to go do that. But it's really important, specifically right now, as we navigate into what the new world of work is going to be post-COVID, that we take the long-term view. And I'm hoping that as a collective of youth, they can help each other make those decisions. Because they are all in the same boat. They, as in we are all in the same boat. The future is the youth. We are quite literally, by definition, the future leaders of this country in many aspects. And it's really important that everyone embraces a collaborative approach to trying to help each other make the right decisions and looking at what does the world look like 10 years from now, and being brave enough to make the decisions that may, in terms of our parents and grandparents, not seem to be like they're the right calls, but really they are. And if we don't shift that mindset and support one another in doing so, we're unfortunately just going to be setting ourselves up for even more failure going forward. But it does start with the education system. So Lance, I'm very keen to continue this conversation about how at an institutional level, we can support the youth in making the right decisions. And maybe it's as simple as not just blindly accepting any person for any specific faculty or any specific discipline. Actually take them through a cognitive discussion about, is this the right thing for you before you now enroll?
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking into, you know, the concept of psychological assessment or career guidance and counseling, which is not always available to everybody. I want to just comment quickly on what Kulu said. I think my own experience in my own life, I've also seen people make the wrong decisions about specific careers. And it kind of highlights the importance and ability to make informed decisions. And also for me, from a motivational perspective, we have to kind of think what are the extrinsic motivational factors, what are the intrinsic motivational factors? Because if we are not doing what we enjoy doing, if we're not doing what we love doing, there's always going to be some sort of incongruence within ourselves where we're feeling lost, or we feel as though we're not headed in the right direction. And one of the main reasons why people are not happy in work is because, or not satisfied in their jobs, is because they're not doing what they love. They're not receiving the right emotional benefits or returns from what they're doing, because they are purely just working for the sake of working. And I understand, you know, that a lot of things are circumstantial. If you have a limited amount of options for studying and a limited amount of resources, then you kind of have to go with what is in front of you, and that puts you on a specific path. And some people don't resolve that conflict between external and internal motivational factors. And some people are fortunate enough to sit with themselves, look themselves in the mirror and say, look, I'm not happy. How can I shift or change my career path right now so that I do feel more fulfilled, that I do feel happier? So, you know, if we see the bigger picture, and I think a lot of people that are in a much more mature situation within their careers, those people are able to kind of see the positive and the negative aspects of their work. But as a person that is still struggling to define what it is that they want to do, looking into the world of work is a bit of a black box. They have got no insights into what the world of work really looks like. So, you know, things like job shadowing, mentoring, those types of relationships that can come from social capital and networking are very important. So yeah, I think there is a definite need for robust forms of career guidance counseling.